video, Yorgos Mavromanolaki from Learning Ecologies will introduce to you the STEAM Learning Ecology Methodology. And as we go through the main steps, you will hear from the people who experienced the methodology firsthand by implementing their SLE in the previous year. It's a pleasure to welcome with us Patricia Barciela from Domus, part of the Museos Científicos Corunenses in Spain, and Konstantinos Fanis, who works for the Ministry of Education in Cyprus, Department of Biology.
In the first step, the focus is to, let's say, have an initiator, which could be a school, could be a school teacher, could be a group of students, could be any environment that wants to, let's say, develop a learning pathway. The challenge is that there should be an idea to start with, a concept to start with, and we, let's say, in SLEs, we start by looking around and having, identifying a local problem or kind of challenge that is bothering not only us personally, but as a society or as a local community. And this can even be the focus point and the challenge to try to find a solution, or can be just an initial idea that through co-creation can lead us to several other ideas to pursue. So in the next slide, the basic step can be, let's say, consisting of trying to either answer or just think of several questions to start with and think about. So I will not go through all the list. I will try to give as much time to our presenters. So I will just go through very quickly just to mention that a starting point can be to look around or look in ourselves and find bothering or problematic situation in our everyday life. This can be a student, this can be a teacher, this can be an entrepreneur, this can be a researcher. So this can be the starting point. And then think of possible solutions that either improve or give a real solution to the problem and the challenge. And then we can go through the process, what is feasible, what kind of partner we would like to find, what is our objective, etc., etc. So as I said, I just put this in the slide, but in the document we have tried to elaborate all this process and have more, let's say, textual guidance on how to proceed on these steps. So in the next slide, basically, we give the floor to Patricia and Konstantinos to give us, let's say, the experience of the pilot phase implementation and present their views and experience.
Yes, thank you very much, Yorgos. Indeed, we would like now to give the floor to our speakers, and I would like to ask you to provide a little context about your project before you go into the details of how you came up with the topic of your SLEs, and what aspects did you consider when, let's say, finalizing this topic, when finding this main idea or real life challenge that was at the center of your project. And I would give the floor first to Patricia and then to Konstantinos.
Okay, thank you very much, and hello everybody. It's a pleasure to be with you today to share our experience and to learn from your ideas and to share different challenge that we can have in this kind of projects. In our case, I work in a science museum, which is called Domus. It's a science museum about the humankind. And when we start to to think about what can be the topic or the idea or the needs that this SLE can cover, can have. We discovered that artificial intelligence is reaching the whole society in different ways, and we aren't prepared to manage to feel safe using this kind of tools. Also, in our region, we live in Spain, in the northwest of Spain, and in our area, we have educational government that decided to introduce a new subject about artificial intelligence in two courses, in 15 and 16 years old courses students. And it was a really fast, the whole process, and the teachers are very lost about how they can do above all in the first year with a student of 15 years old. Because the idea is to do projects and as a level user, not to code, to develop tools. If the idea is to use tools as a user, and the teachers are worried about what they can do in class. So we think that this is our need as a need in our society, and in particular in our educational system. So we decide to do an SLE called Imagine a World 2030, where the proposal is to the students working in groups develop a short audiovisual piece, no more than 3 minutes of an audiovisual, with the help of different AI tools. For example, they can use ChatGPT to help them to develop a script of a story. They can use another tool to develop images to illustrate a topic that they have to choose. In fact, we propose the students to choose a topic related with the sustainable development goals. So one of the students choose climate action, another choose the goal related to well-being and health. So we have different topics. Again, with an idea that the students think with a story that they draw and write, and then with an original idea from the students, they start to work with the help of the artificial intelligence tools. So I don't know if with the context, at the same time, maybe I answer some of the 2 questions, more or less.
It's very clear. Yes, Patricia,
Yes?
thank you very much. So you addressed, actually, we can see how there were many needs out there that you tried to connect. So first was, let's say, an instructional educational system need to introduce this new subject, but at the same time also you connected to the Sustainable Development Goals, which are current, let's say, current topics and issues that the world as a whole strives to solve. So, and there was also this aspect that it's really interesting, which is letting the students choose the topic they are most interested in. So, being student-centered. Konstantinos, I would like to leave the floor to you now about your project.
Okay, I will try to be brief. My name is Konstantinos Fanis. I am the national coordinator of a UNESCO project. So I collaborate with 15 schools in Cyprus. So instead of letting the students choose the topic, we let the teachers decide the topic. and we help them. Mainly, we have teachers of science, biology, physics, actually technology as well. Trying to think if there's another teacher. So mainly biology, physics, and technology teachers collaborating with all the sciences in their schools. So we try to involve STEM teaching. And I will let you know what kind of topics we have chosen. We've been working on these topics for the last few years, actually. The first topic is we are monitoring butterflies throughout Cyprus. 8 schools are monitoring butterflies, and they're linking this with climate change. The idea is that we eventually will have enough data to produce an article, a scientific article. The students present their work in a science festival. And it's a 10-minute presentation and a video by the students. The project started because we originally were looking to collaborate with a university so that we monitor wild bees, but the taxonomy of wild bees is very hard. So the alternative was butterflies, and we are now collaborating with another university, a researcher, so that we can identify the butterflies. And in fact, one school, a teacher, he tried to have a application where the application will recognize the species of butterflies. So one project is the butterflies. Another project with another collaboration, teachers that like marine biology, they are now going to be collaborating with an institute to monitor the fish by using video cameras, and a scientific methodology, again, with the idea of being involved in a citizen science project. So the data will be used by the university. So that's our second project. And our third project is about microplastics. A teacher who did her PhD in microplastics is helping students to identify microplastics in fish by using microscopy in the schools. And now they will be looking for microplastics in water. That's our third project, and one more, which is now fading out, but we'll see if we can keep it, is a greenhouse in schools where the students are looking to produce biological food, and they are monitoring the infestation by parasites in the greenhouse. So this is a summary of the topics that we are working in Cyprus.
Many thanks, Konstantinos. And I find this presentation really interesting because it gives a taste of how many different topics can be the center of an SLE, and also how to use one of the foundational elements that Evita presented before, that is STEM, to bring about this project. I wanted also to ask you, how were these topics chosen by teachers? Was it personal interest, or were there some local opportunities that made the topic arise and come to prominence at the local level, let's say?
Oh, okay, so that question goes to me, right? Right. I've been working as an advisor. I'm a biology teacher myself with a PhD in molecular biology, but I've been working as an advisor for the biology department, and I've been working also as an advisor for the Pedagogical Institute at the unit of sustainability for the last 10, 15 years. So this work has been going on for many years now. And we are entering this, the collaboration with the Cyprus University has also been going on for 10 years. So it's been a gradual process to find the teachers. It's been a gradual process to decide how we can use citizen science and ecology. But I think the idea of actual data that can be manipulated by universities came because of my initiative. So, and finding the teachers that enjoy this kind of work and coming up with ideas like the microplastics is not easy. It's not easy, but it takes time. But once the teachers realize that this work is significant, they apply themselves, and the students really enjoy that kind of work.
Thank you. Yes, that gives them also an opportunity to come into contact with different actors outside of the school that they wouldn't meet otherwise, if not part of this project. Okay, let's go on to the next step of the methodology. So I will give again the floor to Yorgos to guide us through the second step.
In the second step is about preparation and establishment of partnership. And the main objective is to give to all actors space, which means not only physical space, but also digital space, time space, whatever, and resources and opportunities, and of course motivation to take an initiative and a central laws and central role in learning, and also kind of to benefit from that. So actors in our let's say vocabulary means not only learners and students or school pupils, but also teachers, also local community, universities, researchers, scientists, etc., etc. So this is a very broad and inclusive, let's say, definition of what an actor can be in this partnership. So we try to engage not only in a partnership, but also in active role, formal educator, non-formal, informal education, as well local enterprises, and as a whole the civil society that can be part of this of an SLE. This is a very, let's say, ambitious goal, but the objective is to have as many as possible involved in this learning, let's say, experience. And so in this step, we try to give them not only, let's say, space to an opportunity, but also try to identify the benefits in being part of this partnership. So if we want to just through a couple of bullets to identify the main, let's say, steps or actions that we have to take as initiators, is first to list any possible partner that we are aware of that could be interested in participating in this educational process. Draw up some very, let's say, rough selection criteria, search for information, and finally select a short list that we would like to contact. And if the first contact can be established, then we try to have a discussion and dialogue in order to convince partners to be part of the project. And be part of the project is not only, let's say, expression of interest, but also expression of collaboration and resources that could be devoted to this project. And when this can be done, then we have the allocation of roles and responsibilities that is crucial in a partnership. So again, I don't want to go through all the list of questions. I just try to be as more, let's say, concise as possible. Just to think of some questions we would like to ask ourselves as initiators in this step, and how to give a sort of answer is what kind of direct or indirect. We have a list of questions, not to intimidate people but actually to support people to go through the kind of thinking that goes into this step. So some question we can ask is, who do we need? Who do we know already from previous projects? Who is already in our network and or in our local community that we can collaborate with? At what level of resources are we standing or we have in need? And what kind of roles do we envisage for ourselves, but for the others? Because as an initiator, the responsibility is not only to, let's say, give the main idea or concept to work around it, but also kind of be responsible for coordinating and monitoring the different aspects of the whole process. So we are more or less in the driving seat at the beginning. We may change this role later on, but at this step is also crucial to kind of taking the first and driving role in this process. So I will give again the floor to Patricia and Konstantinos to give us real experience from the field.
Yes, thank you, Yorgos. So the question now is building on what you have just explained about your project. How did you go about identifying the stakeholders in your SLEs, and how did you, let's say, prioritize among them if you did that, or did you have a more inclusive approach, welcoming everyone that was interested in the project? And then what was the most difficult part, which was how did you convince them to participate in your SLEs? And then we will go on to the problems and challenges. Patricia?
Okay. When we start to work in the SLE project, we understand from the beginning the importance of building a good partnership, and that this it will be the pillar of the project, no? To have a good partnership, a diverse partnership that can enrich the whole activity, the whole idea. So it's true that in our case, as a museum, we have very diverse contacts and stakeholders which are part of our community. So we can collaborate with the schools, we collaborate with civil society, we collaborate with enterprises. So it wasn't very difficult for us. We are lucky, it's true, to identify who can be part of this partnership. So we start trying to cover the whole, all the field, like non-formal and informal stakeholders, formal also, like educational government, for example, also research on artificial intelligence in our case, also the companies, entrepreneurship, or something like that. And we think, of course, in how to involve students, not only in a formal way from high school, also from the civil society, like a youth association. So finally, thinking about, well, I think that choose a partnership is more than think only in a stakeholder. Finally, think in a person or two persons or several persons. People that you know that is very engaged in education, in different styles or ways to do it. So finally, we think in persons that luckily they represent different kind of stakeholders. And finally, we involve the museum as an initiator, and then Educational Innovation Center that was starting the work, and they can give us this formal and innovative way to educate. We involve a science club from high school. We were very lucky to have in the partnership a company that organized a festival on animation, video games, and digital media in general. With they are persons that are very updated with the new trends in audiovisual field and how to use artificial intelligence. And we involve also the university with researchers on AI, above all to think about ethics and safety use of the tools. And finally, we have also participating youth association taking part in our SLE. So we were really lucky to have these stakeholders involved, but finally these persons involved. And what is really important is to think in persons that can be flexible, that are willing to adapt their thinkings, their way to work to this different environment that we create as a partnership, and to try to give ideas and accept the ideas from other members of the partnership. So for me, the real challenge is to have a good selection of a person with a good capacity of flexibility to adapt and to go together, finding the good way.
Many thanks, Patricia. So the message is clear: focus on the people and try to find the people who are motivated, but also adaptable and willing to collaborate and open to these other types of partnerships with people coming from different organizations. I will leave the floor to Konstantinos, and I would also like to invite you to, you said before something interesting, which is it took time to find the teachers and build the trust and the interest in the project. So what were the challenges into involving teachers or other stakeholders in the initiative, and how did you overcome them also?
Okay, so I have to tell you that the teachers that are working on this program, they have one period given to them per week to work on this project. So they have a priority. I mean, it's a priority to run the project, which is very good for us. And as I said, I'm a biology teacher myself. And I've been teaching biology for many years. And the idea is to link what we do with the curriculum. And to do that is a huge challenge. We need collaborations with the University of Cyprus and the ReSci-Tech group, where they are specializing in pedagogy, STEAM learning, and also curriculum. I think if we can link what we do with the curriculum, that would be a bonus, a huge bonus, and that's something we're working on this year, I hope. Another challenge is how to involve the community. Again, that's another kind of challenge that we are looking to collaborate with the University of Cyprus to find the partners. It could be greenhouse people, it could be forestry department, it could be museums. There's different kinds of community actors that can play part in the SLE project. And that's what we're looking to collaborate with the University of Cyprus to broaden our community involvement. Other than that, challenges would be the time that the students have to work on this. So it has to be extra time after school or during breaks, and the budget. It's not a problem we have. And again, with the hopefully with the university bringing partners, maybe we can have some kind of more funding. So I would say that's enough for now. But the main thing about the stakeholders is the fact that our projects are citizen science projects. So there's always a researcher involved, and that gives great help to the teachers. Okay.
Thank you, Konstantinos. So you use, let's say, the network of the university to reach out to the other partners that could be part of the project. And what about the teachers? You said before that they have time allocated to them to work on the project, but does that apply to all teachers or only the ones you were able to involve in the project?
The 15 schools are working on this project. Each teacher has one period. But as I said, because we like this project to be a STEAM project, it has to be that it's not just a biology teacher working on this. It should be a team of students and teachers, and that's a challenge because only one teacher takes one period off, and needs to find needs to find the time to collaborate with all the other teachers, and that's not easy.
And that happens, let's say, in an extracurricular manner. This collaboration takes place based on, okay, that's a big challenge, I would say. Thank you very much to both of you. And we will then I will then pass the floor to Yorgos for the next step.
So let's go into the third step in the process, which is co-creation and implementation. There are two actions here. One is co-creation, which means that all stakeholders take the role of, let's say, contributing and create or design or prototype some kind of a pathway or a plan or a project, whatever the term is better we can use here, to, let's say, describe that the concept is now in the phase that we have to implement it with actual learners. And so we have to take into account the different settings, the different constraints, the different objectives in order to go from concept to actual, let's say, implementation. So in this step, again, we have to face a lot of questions and probably a lot of challenges. And the best way to go through it is to collaborate with each other. So a strong partnership, a devoted team, an enthusiastic, let's say, individual that can lead and encourage others to contribute is a key element of this step. So creating a project in partnership is done not only following, let's say, a rigid process, but also a flexible process that takes into account the advantages or disadvantages or what different aspects or different views of others can bring into the table and in the process. Also, we have to take into account that different stakeholders have different interests, have different priorities, and so flexibility and adaptability, as we have here from the beginning, is one of the key assets that we have to be part of this process. So also co-creation, we have to give in mind, to take in mind that co-creation in practice means that we have to commit to an open and transparent and flexible attitude of working. So it's not like one is the leader or one is the director and all the others are just followers. We have to take into account that we would like to have as an inclusive process as possible, as open process as possible in order to succeed in this step. So also there are a lot of dependencies. There are a lot of surprises in an educational setting, let's say, whether it is a school or a university or a research center. So we have to be prepared for, let's say, setbacks. We have to be prepared for something that may not lead to what we actually wanted in the start. So we have to be prepared to change course or to learn from a failure. And this is also a very difficult process in a, let's say, constrained environment like a school, that we have a fixed curriculum, a fixed timetable, that we have to always show that we succeed. But actually in the real, let's say, life, success is not coming always. And so failure can be an outcome that we can learn a lot of it. So this is a very, let's say, kind of positive thinking, that even when we don't succeed in every aspect, always we can take something as a learning process. So again, I'll give the floor to Patricia and Konstantinos to give us the experience of the pilot, let's say, project they conducted, and what kind of experience they can share with us during this step in the process.
Thank you, Yorgos. Yes, the questions were anticipated. So we would like to know how was the work organized? How did you organize your co-creation sessions within the SLEs? And what did you find to be the added values of designing learning paths and co-creating among various stakeholders within the project?
The initiative was from the museum, and then we start to hold several meetings as a partnership. We need 3-4 times to first to understand the methodology and to decide which is the real need that we have, and then to decide what part of the methodology we can develop, each of us as a member of the partnership, each of us with their expertise. So we agree, find what we can give to the project. I can give something different from as a museum, that someone from a company that work with artificial intelligence, or a researcher that is very worried about the ethical aspects about AI. So we agree during the meetings, the methodology and the tasks for each of us, no? And the added value is very clear for us in our case, because, for example, me in the museum, I couldn't develop an activity or a workshop or a topic about AI because I'm not an expert. I need someone that is working in the real life, in the real world, as a company, and that know the challenge that people is facing for their works, for their tasks. So this is the added value, for example, or to have the researchers about the ethical aspects is important, because for me or for the educator that is part of the partnership, we don't know which are the real challenges that we are facing about security, about ethics. No? So the added value is very clear. You can have added value if your partnership is diverse. If each of the members can give their expertise to the partnership, to the activity. And the challenge, of course, is to understand the different point of view and accept, for the company, the important part is that. For the researchers, the important part is that. Maybe for me, it wasn't important at the beginning, but I understand that we can have an agreement. And this is a challenge, to have a good agreement.
Thank you, Patricia. You raised very important aspects. First of all, the diversity. Evita also mentioned it at the beginning. So the richness that comes from having diverse stakeholders is that there is, let's say, also a diversity of perspectives on the same topic. And another thing that I found really interesting is the fact that in an SLE, or in an open schooling environment, it's not just the students that benefit from the experience, but also the different stakeholders who are involved, who learn from each other. So, for example, the programmer being made aware of the ethical issues, let's say, and the museum being able to implement all of this. So thank you very much for your intervention. And Konstantinos, the floor is yours.
So about co-creation. Okay, the main focus are the students in our system. They learn a lot from their teacher, but the way that we work on the methodology is in collaboration with a university and a researcher. But to link this with the curriculum, you need the pedagogy. So you need the pedagogical methodology from the university. So there's a collaboration in 3 levels: the researcher, the teacher, and the university giving the pedagogy. Now, also the other parameters in terms of whether we have the forestry department involved, or we have the museum involved, and the students presenting their work. So how is it organized? We have a meeting in September with all the partners, especially the teachers. That's the first level. Then there's a kind of meeting again in a month or two, so that we see how we are progressing with our methodology and our research. At the end, within the end of the year, we come together so that the students present their work. Now, they could present different types of work. They could present the data on a table and the graphs. They can present what they have achieved inside the school, whether that's a greenhouse or whether they did a gardening or whether they did an insect hotel. So there's continuous meetings, and all the actors should be involved at all times. At the end of the day, I think the students are involved gain, but then they have to present this kind of work to the whole school, because it's a small group of students that are working in this kind of projects. We don't have a huge number of students. So the added value, I would say, with the synergies is that the whole school gains eventually. Now, whether the syllabus will be, we need to change the kind of syllabus we have here, because it hasn't changed for the last 10 years, let's say, or more. And this kind of work, I think, helps the system realize that things need to change. But that's a challenge as well. Can we do it? I don't know. We are trying with the collaboration of the University of Cyprus.
Thank you, Konstantinos. Yes, once again, very, very interesting insights. The collaboration of these different, let's say, actors, the research, the teachers and the university coming together to create the pedagogy, and then implementing it into, let's say, actual activities. And then the students who bring the work out there, let's say, to the whole school, so that the project, it does not end in the classroom, but it resonates, let's say, within the local community. And on the more practical side, both of you cited continuous meetings. So the need to fine-tune this collaboration among different stakeholders through meetings where they can meet and discuss what's going well, what's going badly, and what needs to be adjusted. So that's also a very important part of the co-creation process. This keeping in touch, not just at the beginning and at the end, but also throughout the whole implementation. Okay, Yorgos, if you would like to add anything or go to the next step, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So now the last step in the process is reflection and sharing of results, and to my view is one of the most critical and let's say added value steps in the process. And to my experience, a lot of times this step comes in later or comes in rush, and sometimes it's not given the importance that it should be given. So let me just say that it is integral and essential part of the whole process, not only to reflect on what was good or excellent, or what was perfect in our, let's say, planning and implementation, etc., but also what could be improved, what went wrong, why it went wrong, and how this can be better solved or coordinated in the next, let's say, step. Because we have to take in mind that an SLE is not something that we did once and for all, but we have the, let's say, ambition to repeat it and also to share it with others. And so in this step, there is opportunity for everybody to express themselves and say in an open and let's say and transparent way what went wrong, what went okay, what went better than expected, and then evaluate in an informal, let's say, way what things can be improved. So again, going through the sort of questions that we would like to answer in this step is whether a formal evaluation would be a checklist like, okay, this is what we have in goal as a list, what can we tick or tick out during the implementation, and having a co-creation session in this particular phase that we would like to reflect on all the outcomes and objectives from the beginning up to the final, let's say, destination that we reached. In most cases, this can be done, let's say, internally. And if students can be involved in this process, then the outcomes could be even more beneficial for all to understand the whole process and the value of the whole process. Another important point is to identify opportunities for sharing all the experience, not only internally or in the whole setting, let's say, of a school or of a community, but also to other teachers, to other countries, to other regions. And that's why the synergy with other partners in our consortium is quite beneficial in order to share all the experience and try to be involved in a change that is needed in a reform in the educational system or in a reform in a country's curriculum, etc., etc. So this is the let's say, final step in the process that we would like to emphasize. Okay, now to Patricia and Konstantinos, how they tackled this crucial, let's say, element.
Many thanks, Yorgos. So starting from Patricia, you finished your project. So at the end of it, what would you say that were the main, let's say, strengths of the project? What went well? And what do you think could be improved in a second reiteration? And also, were there any results that surprised you in terms of students' outcomes or what the students produced? Did you have the chance to share results with a wider community at the end of the project?
Well, of course, as Giorgio said, something went well and something went wrong, or not very wrong, but can be done in a better way. So for us, the partnership, of course, but what went well was the engagement of the students in the activity, because we did activity in their free time, not in the school time, in another moments, in weekends or in afternoons. We have some meetings in the school and others in social place to have meetings. And that was fine. It was wonderful to see them very engaged and to see them talking at night, maybe, asking from WhatsApp or something, things to do at home. So, well, that reflects that they were really involved and happy to be part of the project. What can be improved? The topic is very innovative and it has some dangers, some things to solve. We have to improve the way that we share the accounts to share with the students. Never we use personal data. We prepare the way of work with no personal data of the students, only from the adults. But sometimes it was a bit demanding of time to open the session, to close, to share. And well, the technical aspects were one of the most challenging part of in our case, I think because the topic and the tools. The most outstanding was discover how the creativity of the students was in the core of the activity, that we don't have to confuse the use of artificial intelligence that give the AI all the creativity and the art, and no, the main part of the idea of the stories, the idea of the images that they want was from the students, their own creation. And that was for us an outcome, because the danger of this kind of approach can be that the students give the floor to the AI to do all the visual and the story, but maybe it's important to have an educator that can and give the good pathway to put the student in the center. And we had some opportunities to share in some science fair. We have 3 science fair, different science fair in our community, in our region, and the students as a team share the results and explain. It was fun. That was very an outcome for us, because we can see how some adults, public, make some difficult questions about AI to the students, and they had to face and to try to explain how was the process. So, well, it's true that we are in the middle of this evolution in the way of to do something like is the AI. And when we are going to start the mature phase, we are going to make a call for teachers or educators that want to implement this SLE. We need to refine the methodology, and I think at the end of the project, we maybe will have a bit different SLE that we implement in the pilot phase.
Absolutely, absolutely. Every reiteration allows you to also integrate these reflections that arose in the first phase. So, for example, the need for more technical experience. And something really interesting is what you highlighted on the students' engagement. So when you give them responsibilities, they rise up to the task, and they really try to do their best to create something that is theirs. And also the exchange part. This is another, what we consider a fundamental element of an SLE, is also the exchange with the local community again. So as we said before, giving a presentation to the whole school in the case of Constantino's example, or in a science fair, in festivals, those are all great opportunities to bring the project outside and also make other stakeholders like parents or other students aware of its existence, and made them think, maybe consider things that they did not consider before. Mm-hmm. So, Konstantinos, the floor is yours.
Okay, so what went well is that there's a continuation. The project never ends. Students that have worked in year 4, they will work in year 5, and hopefully in year 6. So that's something that is a continuous process. I think that's fantastic, the fact that there's this kind of achievement. What can be improved? We need more interaction between teachers. So that's something that we are working on, how we make it a better STEM project. Outstanding results. I think the fact that we might have a scientific article at the end of a few years of this kind of work, I think that would be outstanding itself. That would be amazing. Because that will be the work of students with a teacher and a researcher. Challenges, I would say that, if you like, sharing the results. We like to share the results by making a book, let's say, with good practices. We do share the results every year, as I said, in a science festival where all the students come together. and that's fantastic. But we are joining different Erasmus projects now and coming to you guys. That's bringing our projects out to the wider community, and that's something that we need to thank you. And of course, we thank the University of Cyprus that is next to us and is helping us to broaden our actors that are involved in these kind of projects. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Konstantinos. Yes, indeed, UCY, University of Cyprus, is also a partner in this project, and we thank them for your participation to this webinar as well. And it's really outstanding that, again, students are empowered and they can see that the work they have been doing in the last year will result in, like, it will not finish there. It will be given to the community and to others. So thank you for your commitment and for doing this, because it's a really, really interesting approach.